Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Saturday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early. It's 7 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I had not planned on making this video. I know I say that way too often, but I really hadn't. Let me fill you in. All right. When I download a video, a lot of times I'll check the first hour or so. I'll go back and check it. I'll see how it's doing. It's got a rating. It'll rate it 1 to 10 how the video is doing by views, see if it's got comments and whatnot. So the last video I did about the UFC fighter being by, I went back and checked it, and I was surprised. It's got a lot of views. It's gotten, well, by my standards, it's gotten a lot of views. It's got, in 1 hour, I probably got what I get in 1 day sometimes for some of my videos, which is great. I looked at the likes, and there was 2, okay? So that tells me something right there. There's not a whole lot of people that are agreeing or liking what I'm saying, and I kind of figured that because when I named the video UFC and the fighter, a lot of people that watch the UFC are gonna watch this video. So just to kind of balance things out too, I just shared this video with the LGBTQ community too, some of the groups that I'm on Facebook, and hopefully they'll share it on their group, just to get a balance. I'd like to see balance in the views and the comments. But, okay. And I said something in the video, right? At the beginning, I said that I don't care for the UFC. I don't watch it. And seeing as there's a lot of people that like the UFC, I gave that some thought. And I thought about explaining to the viewers why I feel that way. Now, if you watch my channel, you probably kind of already got a feel for this, but I started thinking about empathy again, okay? Okay, the UFC, what comes to mind? It's manly, man. It's fist to fist, hand to hand. It's adversarial, confrontation, aggressive. It's manly, right? It's manly to watch it. It's cool if you're a guy, right? So if you don't like to watch it, like me, what comes to mind? Well, you probably don't like the blood. You don't like the violence, you're not manly. So it's almost, I've talked about this channel being like a counselor for me, like a confessional. And today it's kind of like a psychiatrist, honestly. So I started giving this some thought, when I watch it, what is it that I can't watch it? And I thought about this, and I thought about what I call this video. The UFC, and why I don't have any empathy for the UFC, because I started thinking about this, and is it the blood, is it the violence, seeing somebody get hit? Because I talk about how, I don't like to say this, but I get the sincere feeling that I'm empathic. I feel people's emotions, even on TV, or I can sense, I really feel other people's feelings, anger, happiness, or whatever. And I've been hesitant to admit this, because I think it's more a female thing. More women are empathic. And also because when you say the word empathic, even for a time, I didn't understand what it meant. It sounds like telepathy. It sounds like I'm sitting here saying I can read people's minds, which is not it at all. It's not it at all. Okay. So I started thinking about that. Is it the blood? Is it seeing that guy get hit? He's losing the fight. He's getting hit. He's getting hurt. Does that bother me? No, nope. As I was just out for my 4 mile, 1 hour walk, I was really thinking about this, and I was like, no, it doesn't. I don't feel anything for that guy. So, if somebody's losing badly, and that's weird for me. That's weird because I talk about being empathic. I usually feel this stuff like fear, pain, anger, and I don't feel that at all. So I really started thinking about this. Then I thought a little more. Maybe I do feel it, but I'm just not feeling what I expected. Because I feel, when I watch it, I feel violence, I feel aggression, right? Aggressive inflicts pain, violence. And I thought about it, and I am feeling both fighters. One fighter isn't, even though they're losing, they're not a victim here. They don't have fear. They don't have really a pain. It's a competition. They both are there's violence and aggression emanating off both of them. So I really am sensing. It's just I'm not sensing what I thought because at first I just thought, why? How come I have empathy for I can feel almost anything I watch, or I feel it all the time. But how come I can't feel it for this, this fighter that's losing the fight? And I was looking for the wrong thing. It's just aggression from both fighters, which is fine. Okay, now let me talk about this more. Like I said, it's not. That's what it is. And why don't I like this? In the last 16 and a half years, I've been in recovery from hardcore drug addiction. Every day of my life, I was a heroin addict and a crack addict. Every day of my life involved high levels of anxiety and survival instincts. Having to go get what I needed every day in Bridgeport. If you Google Father Panic Village in Bridgeport, or there might be YouTube videos here, or the South Bronx, another place I went, parts of Hartford, the north end of Hartford. These are places I would go every day, and I was on 10 every time I went there. I remember going to one area. This was in the north end of Hartford, and it looked like a bombed out. It looked like part of Syria, really, or Afghanistan or something. It looked bombed out. And I got out of the car, and I went behind the building to do what I needed to do. And I got back to the car, and my friends were freaking out. Like, dude, you're out of your mind going back there. We didn't think, we were ready to leave. They were going to leave me there. They thought I was done for, gone. And every day I deal with this, and then there was more than that too. I owned my own house, and I would throw parties every week, and I was more or less the bouncer there. I was involved in the business end of this too, and my life involved a lot of negative feelings, aggression. My level was always on 10. And I associate that with the whole lifestyle I lived, with the addiction and just the way I lived back then. And now my life is all about, it's about positive. Like I talked in yesterday's video. The guy I talked about yesterday, DM Diablo Immortal, talked about PTSD. And this is I think it's part of PSD. If I sit here right now and I picture two UFC fighters right now, battling it out, one guy losing, bleeding, I get that level of adrenaline. I don't feel sympathy. I don't feel bad for him, the person losing. That's not it. It's like the fight or flight feeling, like they call it. And with me, it was never flight. It was always fight. And I feel my adrenaline. I just feel the rush, and it's not a good feeling, especially now after the last 16 years of my life. I talked yesterday about trying to do things for others instead of myself. There's happiness in that. When you think that buying things or doing things for yourself will make you happy, but what I really found was doing things for other people would tend to bring happiness to myself. Stuff like that. And that's how I try to live the last 16 and a half years of my life. Now, I'm not talking about everybody. I'm not going to sit here and other videos I've talked about other people and why they might watch UFC, and I probably should have done that because I don't live in somebody else's head. I don't know why they watch me. Maybe they really do see athleticism. Maybe they see some kind of beauty in the hand-to-hand combat. I don't. I get a level of adrenaline on very negative. It's like if I sat here and watched actual videos of people using, or car crashes, or house fires, or somebody falling off a building, or what happened in New York, back in the World Trade Center. It gives me a level of adrenaline it's not a pleasant feeling. And that's whenever I watch UFC, that's how I feel. And I just, it's not entertainment for me. It's really not. I'm not going to judge anybody else that watches it because I don't know. I don't know how it affects them. A lot of people probably didn't experience, 2.5 decades of what I experienced. So they probably can't relate to what I'm saying. Maybe they do see athleticism in it. I don't. I just thought I would explain this because I realized that there's a lot of UFC fans that were going to watch my video. a lot more than usual. The video is probably, hopefully, going to get a lot of views, and a lot of them are going to be UFC fans. And I thought I should at least try to explain my feelings for why I said that I don't care for UFC. I don't care to watch it myself. I can't watch it myself. And that explains it. Let me know what you think. I'm really interested if anybody else feels this way, because I've never really talked to anybody that's felt similar. All right. Have a good Saturday.